Hello, this is Ms. Fackler's geometry class. The first thing that I want to tell you is for the year, I would like for you to have a spiral notebook for my class. Anywhere from 3 to 5 subjects. It should be pretty thick. So the first page, if you'll open up, you're going to label, this is called the table of contents. And that is going to keep us organized with labeling what pages different subjects are on. So this is going to be page 1 up in the corner. We're going to label the back of that page 2. We're going to keep those open for the table of contents. And page 3 is where we're going to start our lesson. So our first lesson is called Points, Lines, and Planes. So let's go back to our table of contents, and we're going to write that on page 3 was lesson about points, lines, and planes. Okay, let's go back. Now, we are going to make a nice diagram to list this, and in the diagram, we are going to have give yourself about 3 lines for each one. So we're going to start with model and then skip 3 lines and make a line. The next one is going to be drawn, skip 3 lines and draw a line. We're going to put named by, skip 3 lines and draw a line. And facts, skip 3, draw a line. And words / symbols, and skip 3 and draw a line. Now, draw a line going above model as well, and then straight down. Now we're going to go over a point, a line, a plane, a segment, a ray, and an angle. Now I realize that it's getting a little tight, but try to space it out as best that you can. And we're going to make a bunch of lines going this way. Now if you need to pause right here and draw yours out, go ahead and do so. Okay, a point looks like this. We'll call that point P. It is drawn as a dot, and it is named by 1 capital letter. It doesn't have a size or a shape. It just holds up a place in space. It doesn't have size or shape, but it holds up 1 point in space. And here's how you can label it. So you would label that point as P, or you physically write out point P with a capital letter. A line looks like this. So there's a couple different ways that we can label that, and I'll show you in a minute. It is drawn with an arrow at each end. It is named by either 1 lowercase letter or 2 capital letters. and it doesn't have a width or height. It just has a length. So it goes in two directions forever and ever and ever. A line does. So here's how you label it. You can label this line right here, either HA, capital HA with a line over top of it. You can label it as AH with a line over top of it. Or you could label it line lowercase m. That little m labels the line as well. Alright, the next thing we're going to talk about is a plane. So a plane kind of looks like a parallelogram. We're going to put point X on it, point Y, point Z, and then we're just going to put a letter Q. We are not labeling that point, just a letter Q. So it is drawn as a slanted four-sided figure. It is named by 3 points or one capital letter. And it goes forever in all directions, and it doesn't have height. So it's a two-dimensional figure. So here's how we can label this. We either label it plane X, Y, Z, so by the 3 points that are on it, you have to have 3 points. Or this is called plane Q. That's not a point, that is the plane. So you could label it as plane Q. Alright, the next thing we're going to talk about is a line segment. So here's our line segment. It is labeled with 2 specific endpoints, or it's drawn with 2 specific endpoints. It is named by 2 capital letters. And it can be drawn forwards or backwards. So we can label this ND with a line segment over the top, or DN with a line segment over top. Okay, the next one is a ray. Again, if I'm ever going too fast, just pause and copy down what I'm copying down. Okay, so this is ray LE. It is drawn with 1 endpoint that goes through another point forever. That word is point. Sorry. Running out of room. So it is drawn with 1 endpoint that goes through another endpoint forever. It is drawn with 2 capital letters with the endpoint in the front. It is half of a line. So this is only written one way, LE. You cannot write it as EL because you've got to have the endpoint out in front. All right, the last thing we're going to talk about is an angle. Angles will be very important in geometry. This is C, A, R, and we're going to put a little 3 inside of it. So an angle are two rays. So the thing we just talked about, it's two rays joined by an endpoint. So those are just two rays sitting together on the same endpoint. Either letter in the middle is how it's labeled by, or it's named by either letter in the middle or all three capital letters. Or either the letter in the middle or all three capital letters. So what I mean by that, the endpoint that it's joined by, that's got to be in the middle. So the endpoint in the middle or the number. The vertex always goes in the middle. So it's either labeled one of three ways. CAR with a little angle out in front, angle CAR, or angle RAC. It can be labeled by only its vertex, angle A, or that number that's in there, so angle 3. This little symbol means angle. All right, I hope you learned lots about how to label points, lines, planes, segments, rays, and angles. We're going to be using these a lot this year. So now you're going to go on to your lesson.